Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Cup of Jonah this morning. Hope you've got your warm cup of Joe. Friendly reminder, of course, to please like and share if you appreciate the content. Also, check out phoneboothpodcast.substack.com. So, as you all know, or many of you know, we're in the middle of a nice little 5-day water fast here, so I've only got a symbolic cup of Joe this morning. It's actually just water with fasting salts. So welcome back, Shiva. All right, so today we ask for the first time. Today is much shorter. Yesterday, the last couple days, we've divided. We had separated the question of whether or not God was matter, or was a body, I should say. Today, the question is, or the chapter is called, that God is his essence. So some of this will seem familiar in a moment because I kind of explained a little bit teaser trailer fashion about the composition in beings, that when a being is, so when we examine something and then there's a division of two, one is what that thing is, and then it's being, because if something is temporary, it's a combination with its being, and so that's a division. So you can see there's composition there, and then that composition there of could be described as angels, right, or spiritual beings, angels and demons alike, where they have their essence, or what they are, combined with their being. That's the first combination, because they're not the same. And then man, as his essence, he's divided into two as well, of matter and form, body and soul. So not only is there composition with regard to his being, but there's also composition in his essence of what makes us to be what we are. So, but before we get to that, we're going to ask, well, is God his essence? So is there any composition? So we're working our way backwards now, because man is not his essence. Man is, it's a little more complicated than that, right? We're going to ask if God is his essence. So from what has been laid down, we can infer that God is his essence, quiddity, or nature. Quiddity is the term they use for what it was just in Aristotelian philosophy, it's like the whatness. Like, how do you describe this thing? What is this thing? Whatever you say in response to that question, that's the quiddity. There must be some composition in every being that is not its essence or quiddity, since, indeed, each thing possesses its own essence. If there were nothing in a thing outside its essence, all that the thing is would be its essence, which would mean that the thing is its essence. But if something were not its essence, there should be something in it outside its essence. Thus, there must be composition in it. Hence it is that the essence in composite things is signified as a part. For example, humanity is man. Or humanity in man, excuse me. Now, it has been shown that there is no composition in God. That was back in chapter 18. God is therefore his essence. Moreover, only that which does not enter the definition of a thing seems to be outside its essence or quiddity. For the definition signifies what a thing is. But it is only the accidents of a thing that do not fall in the definition, and therefore only the accidents in anything are outside its essence. But as will be shown, in God there are no accidents. There is therefore nothing in God outside his essence, and hence he is his essence. Now, by way of reminder, remember, accidents in this sense, we say, so it's not what, kind of like, remember the first imposition of the name accident in our vocabulary is, oops, didn't mean for that to happen, or that was an unintended obstacle that was hit on the way to work, right? It's outside of our intention. So if you take that word accident and apply it to a being, an accident is something that rests on the whatness. What is the thing? Like he had said earlier, like maybe musicality or whiteness or beardedness is in man. This man, Jeremiah, is in this thing, this, and it's outside my essence. Like I can get a heavy tan, or shave the beard, or become more or less musical. So it's just saying that in God, there's none of that. There aren't no accidents, so therefore he must be in his essence. Furthermore, forms that are not predicated of subsisting things. I'll read that again in a second. So forms, remember, form and matter. Form is the intelligible. It makes a thing to be what it is. But those are also like forms in the mind, right? So we can understand different ideas. That's a form in the mind. That's how we can look at a new dog that we've never seen, or a new race of dog that we've never seen, and know that that's a dog because it has the form of dog. Predicated just means spoken of. Predicato. It's from the Latin to speak forth about, to speak toward. So predicat. So I speak upon. So it's asking about how we use a word towards something that's subsisting, something that exists out there that we can see, that has its own, that is existing out there. Kind of, it's a similar, subsistence is similar to the word substance, slightly different nuance. So let me read that again with, furthermore, forms that are not predicated of subsisting things, so forms or ideas that are not spoken of this or that thing individually, whether these be considered universally or each is taken singly, are forms that do not subsist through themselves as singulars, individuated in themselves. We do not say that Socrates or man or animal is whiteness, because whiteness does not subsist as a singular through itself, but is individuated through its subsisting subjects. Individuated, remember, matter is the principle of individuation. We had talked about that when we asked about whether or not God was matter, prime matter specifically. So matter is the principle of individuation. Remember we had talked about God. I got mixed up literally. Dog is spoken of. We have the form, the idea of God, of dog in our mind. And yeah, so then when we, okay, where was I going with that? Sorry about that. We can say, long-eared or short-eared or, clipped ear, or all kinds of different spots or no spots. Like these are different things that this or that dog, it's the matter. So dog is the universal concept that applies to all of these things in this species, but then the individual dog is because it has this matter, this thing that I can point to right here, right? So that's why they say matter is the principle of individuation. It kind of, you could say cause, but it's a little different, but similar idea. I'll read that last section, that little last sentence again for clarity. We do not say that Socrates or man or animal is whiteness, because whiteness does not subsist as a singular through itself, but it is individuated through its subsisting subjects. In the same way, also, natural forms do not subsist as singulars through themselves, but are individuated in their proper matters. And that's essentially what I was just saying, that that is why we do not say that this fire or fire is its own form. The very essences or quiddities of genera and species are individuated through the designated matter of this or that individual, even though the quiddity of the genus or the species should include common form and matter. I'm going to read that last sentence again. The very essences or quiddities of genera, so a genus of things in different genuses, and species So you have genus, species, individual, right? So you kind of have a little hierarchy of ideas when we speak about them or understand things. And it's again that matter that individuates and makes it so that we can say this or that dog, right? Or this or that man. This is why we do not say that Socrates or man is humanity. But the divine essence exists through itself as a singular existent and individuated through itself. For, as we have shown, it is not in any matter. The divine essence is predicated of God. Therefore, so that we may say, restart that sentence. The divine essence is predicated of God, therefore, so that we may say, God is his essence. Again, the essence of a thing is either the thing itself or is related to the thing in some way as its cause. For a thing derives its species through its essence. But nothing can in any way be the cause of God, since, as we have shown, he is the first being. God is therefore his essence. Then, too, what is not its essence is related to its essence, according to some part of itself as potency to act. That is why the essence is signified in the manner of a form, for example, humanity. But as was shown above, there is no potentiality in God. He must therefore be his essence. So because the term humanity can be applied to many things, so now this is just me kind of commenting here. Essentially what he's saying there is in things, something either is its essence or it's related to its essence, right? So again, just using the example he used before, or the most recent one, humanity, right? So because I am not humanity, but I am human. That humanity describes me. It can be said of me because humanity is not my essence. It's not that's something about what I am, but it's not who I am. So in the case of God, though, since there is no composition in any way, and there's no parts of God, he's simple, then we can't predicate any of these genuses to him in that way, or anything related to his essence that's not his essence. So God is his essence. And this will become more clear. And this point, even though it kind of seems perhaps a little bit like, okay, well, what's the point? Why is this important? Well, because it's important to remember there's no potentiality in God. There's no matter in God. So these are the things that differentiate things from each other, right? So for example, in angels, or spiritual beings, I should say, so angels or demons, their accidents, the things that rest upon their essence, individuates them. So they're but also unlike man that has a genus and a species, so our species of humanity, of man, right? We're not one of the main differences, because we have matter as our principle of individuation. Angels do not. So he'll actually say later, get a little ahead of ourselves, but it's kind of interesting. A lot of the things he concludes about, we can actually know a lot about angelic and demonic life and abilities and powers through this kind of reasoning. Once we're clear on these different realities, which we haven't applied to angels yet, but he will later, is that, for example, the essence of man involves matter, which is our principle of individuation, which separates me from you, for example. But angels themselves don't have that matter as an individuation. So each angel is its own species. They're all in the genus of angel, but it's their own species, which is really interesting. So we'll get to that. But again, we're going back to that idea of that tree of composition, so to speak, that division of the quiddity of something or the substance of something, and then asking, okay, what's its essence and being? We can see there's composition there, and then matter and form in man, right? So you can see that all those divisions. So we've basically said, okay, well, in God now, he is his essence. He's identified as his essence. There's nothing outside of his essence that's related to him that's not him. Like in you or I, there are different qualities. We have different properties. We have different things that you can say to describe us that are related to us and are there supported by or rest upon or have existence through our essence, but they're secondary, right? Like the example of before of musicality or whiteness or beardedness, right? So next, as you see, we're going to talk. So we're going to establish a couple other things by the way of remotion of God. But let's take a step back for a second and look at where we've come, especially, if you've missed a couple days or whatever. It's good to also recap occasionally where we've come from and where we're headed. So we started this whole conversation by asking, what is wisdom? And that was used to lay out the order of the work. Then we asked whether or not God existed. And now we're talking about, again, way of remotion, cutting things off and imperfections off. So there's no combination. There's no division. We're cutting off the imperfection of the division between God and his essence. They're one and the same. So what the consequences of that truth will be important later on. Tomorrow, we're going to ask if God's essence and his being are the same thing. So now that we know that God is his essence, is that essence also to be identified with his being? And you'll remember the burning bush, ego eimi, that Greek phrase means I am who am. So we're going to see, we already kind of know where he's going with this, but it'll be interesting to see him lay out the reasons why. So, any questions or thoughts? I know these last couple days have been very philosophical, terminology heavy. And as a reminder, to reiterate what I said yesterday, don't be discouraged. It takes years to get comfortable with what's meant by each of these terms. But as we think through and use these terms, it starts to become more simple and clear. Like the first time I read the word predicated, I was like, I don't even understand what's being said here. It was in the posterior analytics of Aristotle. I'm like, I was like, it takes a little while to get comfortable and used to, so that immediately your mind knows exactly what's being said. Or accident, something it's not the essence, but it has being through the essence, and it's related to the essence of, or the quiddity of something, the whatness, the what it is. So with time and more exposure with these ideas, it will become more habitual and will become more easily understood. But it's absolutely worth the effort, even to listen to some of these readings a couple times, to get the book so that you have it in front of you. You can get it free PDF online. I do recommend that as well. But soon we're going to do an interesting pivot from talking about the way of remotion to the way that we have ideas and grow in knowledge, and how we use words and then apply. And can we apply words and say affirmative things about God? Not just, there's no division at the essential level. There's no matter. There's no imperfection. Right? We've been cutting things away, imperfections away for a week or so now. And we're going to continue doing that for a couple more days. And then we're going to shift into an analysis of how we know things and speak about things. And we're going to use that as a springboard to launch into what can we say about God himself. So it's a neat pivot. It's a neat pivot. So again, as we go through, you'll appreciate more and more how Thomas is he's an incredible teacher, because the chapter concepts all flow upon each other so beautifully, in how he kind of builds a case or builds a foundation of understanding of things as we move forward. So it's gonna be a blast. And as always, thank you for joining me today. I hope you're enjoying your cup of Jonah, and I look forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow, Friday, will be the last day of the week, obviously, and then we pause for the weekend. So, all right. Well, thank you for joining me this morning. Don't forget to share if you are enjoying this. Check out phoneboothpodcast.substack.com, of course. And oh, there you go, Shiva. Thank you. I was just gonna say, fast strong. That's right, sir. So we are on day 2 of the fast this morning. So again, I just got my water. So it's good. I felt a little bit hungry towards the end of the day yesterday, but nothing other than that. So I haven't felt hungry yet today. So we'll see. It's still early, obviously. But check for the updates on the Philosopher King podcast tab. We're dropping daily updates under that video about the fast that we're doing. So Shiva, are you fasting as well, sir? So let's go. All right. So I do invite you again. Obviously, we're doing like a 5 to 7 day fast, but you don't have to do it that long. If you were not aware until today, join us. It's a great discipline. It's a great way to heal our body. Just finished. Well done, sir. Yes, I do encourage you to join us. It's really actually not as hard as you in our American mentality or Western mentality. We're very much used to 3 meals a day. Many, perhaps, especially more recently, OMAD, 1 meal a day. So it's seen as something extreme, but in so many cultures around the world, like Ramadan, for example, they do pretty hardcore fasting for an extended period of time that most of us Westerners are not used to. So it can be done, and it's a lot less difficult than you think. But it is a good exercise and discipline. All right. Well, without further ado, I wish you a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.